Thank you. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine with you.
Quite tired, but still standing. So
Nice.
Thanks for being here. I'm very excited to have you here. We wouldn't have so many people if we didn't have AI on the schedule. It's just basically you are the only reason why they're here. And AI, I guess. So thank you so much for being here. Can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Manuela Veloso, and I basically am currently the head of AI research at JPMorgan Chase, but I'm also the Herb Simon University Professor Emerita at Carnegie Mellon University. So I've spent 30 years in academia, first as computer science faculty, always researching in AI, when AI was not what people would talk about, but I always taught AI, researched, graduated almost 50 PhD students. And then in 2018, I came to JPMorgan basically to try to address this challenge of bringing AI to a company or to an industry that was not born digital. So that has been like the excitement of being at JPMorgan and in finance after having done a lot of robots all my life and AI. So I do have robots at JPMorgan though too.
Thank you, Manuela. We're so excited to have you here. And before we dive into open source and finance, that's obviously the topic of our conference. You touched on that. You sort of have been in this for the longest time. Ups and downs in the industry. You survived the AI winter, and you've been there much before sort of ChatGPT was the topic du jour. So I'd love to kind of share with our audience sort of what do you think the impact of AI is on businesses and more broadly on people's lives? Like, are we gonna all die killed by Skynet or anything like that?
So very good. So I'm going to spend a little bit of just 1 minute or so to take this advantage to tell you about this AI kind of like, how do you say, road.
Yep.
So, and where are we now, which Brooke so well explained. So let me tell you something. AI is not a very old science. It's a young science. This is not chemistry. This is not biology. This is not philosophy. So it just started recently as a science to really try to have these computers exhibit what, in principle, is human intelligence, like perception, cognition, and action. So, processing of data, reasoning about actions, and executing. So we are these intelligent creatures that can see that there is rain, decide to take an umbrella and go outside and open the umbrella. I mean, we do the whole cycle in intelligence. Many of the things we have now, sometimes in computing, are only providing information to humans. We Google, they give us the information, and we better make decisions ourselves. So we don't have really a lot of AI systems on the decision-making themselves. It's all about providing information for humans to think about. So, but I want to just go back and tell you, so this is how it started. And if you have not watched the Imitation Game, the movie, if you don't know about Alan Turing, you should go and check how in the 30s, suddenly this man out of nowhere thought that the computers could be used basically to do not just numerical computation. It's remarkable to go from thinking we have calculators to thinking we have machines that think, or they're machines that reason. So you need to watch that Imitation Game. You need to buy a Roomba to see a robot that actually moves. If you don't have a Roomba, it's homework number 2. You have to buy a Roomba. But what I'm trying to tell you is like this. Think about this goal in the 50s. There were barely any computers. So this thing about calling the AI winter, I'll explain. There was no winter. There was how things were going. So the only way that people had a chance of finding out how do people put together an IKEA thing, or how do people do, a doctor decides that you have cancer or no cancer, it was by asking people. There was no internet, there was nothing, there were no images online, nothing. So they had to ask, so how do you make a decision? You look at this image, what do you see? And then they would go and type all this information into their computer programs so that the computer eventually would be able to use this information. There was no data. There was nothing. There was just this goal of trying to make the machine smart. So this thing that people then, the expert systems, it became, not sustainable to be asking all the time people and to be typing somewhere what people were saying. And then there is this magic moment, and whether we acknowledge it or not is the magic moment, of the iPhone. Sometimes in 2007, magically from a roll of 36 pictures, we went to have every image online. Can you imagine that? You don't even remember maybe buying these, it was 24 pictures or 36 pictures.
Yep.
And we would like take the pictures, develop them, and guess what? They were all bad. Oh my gosh, that's it. We spend the money, and you know these kids, stay there, because it's like money, that's it. Do you realize that shift? It was not just in the way we have the culture of using, but also the computer now has. And you know, I don't know if you remember Flickr. We used to put captions on pictures. Guess what? It's now digital. This is a dog. Oh, my dog taking out whatever. This is a cat. Oh, the cat, whatever. And magically now, think about AI. What happened is that it was not a winter or less winter. It's just that it became not sustainable to be asking everybody, and magically the iPhone came about. Okay, and then the GPUs, and then eventually like the internet, everything. But now where are we? We are in a world where everything we do is digital. Everything. So now there is no other chance to catch up with all this stuff unless we think computers. There's no other way. And in finance in particular, or in other things, you have to understand that the scale of what people want to address is too big. And there is no humans that can find out everything that all the books say, or all the newspapers say. But guess what? AI can. So now you change the culture by and one more thing that I want to tell you. I mean, the homework number 3 or number whatever. So 1, watch the imitation game. 2, buy a Roomba. No matter how much it costs, buy the best one. So you really need to have a Roomba if you don't have. And then, because, in the world, nothing moves by itself except people and cats and dogs and Roombas. Literally. I mean, you have to experience the fact
I think
that
next year they must sponsor the conference.
I am, like Rod Brooks would love me. But I'm just saying, they have to understand that it's the only perception, cognition, and action thing that moves by itself. Yeah. Autonomous cars are a promise, yes, they are in San Francisco. But I'm just saying, yes, we have a few. But in your house, a Roomba. Buy a Roomba. Okay, but then what matters then is like for the third homework, I tell you like this, stop one day and just enjoy all the things that during the day we kind of benefit from AI. And it's not really like just you. We take it, these humans are amazing. We take everything for granted. I mean, we buy something on Amazon, the thing offers similar products. And we are like, oh, yeah, whatever. They have reviews online. They have like what you like. Netflix, you go and you select, and it offers, I think based on what you watch, you can watch this thing. Just one by one, enjoy in the Uber thing, seeing the driver being tracked on your phone. How in the world that happened? Do you understand? You cannot just ignore that all of these is a product of the AI of today. And in particular, another one that's major, and I always say this, is the Waze thing. Waze. How come all the maps of the world are there? Where did they come from? Can you imagine the map of Italy, the map of Portugal, the map of Texas, the map of China? They're all there, all represented the same way. You can enter any address and it tells you where to go. Compare this with before Waze. You would have to buy a map, have someone open the map and say where to go, and you literally would only go to places that either you had a map or some friend of yours gave instructions on to get there, and you were looking for 112 exit, 115, whatever, and literally, how far could you reach? Only the things that you could have a map for, and someone would tell you where to go. Now, where can you go in the world? Anywhere. Do you understand? So this is the type of thing that we have to take a deep breath, whether it's lake houses or open source or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's this change of culture in which we are. And for finance in particular, and for any company, this is it. Why are we only watching Waze and then go and write all the reports by hand? Why do we read all the annual, the documents ourselves if we have all these tools? So in some sense, this long answer to your short question, I think that what we need to understand is that in this road thing, we reached a point where AI is available. And yes, maybe it doesn't do everything. Maybe what I was just meeting with my team, and people now are, the publications on AI and LLMs, you know what they are? What ChatGPT cannot do, what Llama cannot do, whatever it's all this benchmarking, it can't do this, it can't do that. And then I said like this, what does it matter? Look at how much it can do. Because if we are always in this business of finding what it can't do, yes, hopefully there will be space also always for humans, and there will be space for the technology to exist. But our duty in our business is to find what it can do. Not really like what it can't. We'll just wait slowly, that eventually it will be able. In Pittsburgh, where I lived, Waze at the beginning was bad in 3D things. We had lots of rivers and bridges, and Waze was bad. Because it would tell you, go here, and then you would go there, and the road was down there. Okay, well, I cannot really go there. And they became better over time. And what does that mean? Because they had that error there, I never use them again? What? So do you understand? So the secret here is to think that AI is a young science. It doesn't matter. There are many people developing good algorithms for AI. And we better find out how AI can help us now, because otherwise we'll just be behind. Doesn't matter. It's just that, how can we ignore that there exists AI and be all worried about these or that or that? That one is better. This one is better. What does it matter? Do you understand? So I always get nervous, and I can't stand these people who are fighting this poor young science that is trying to survive in this world and trying to do, and ignoring that it's here available. It's available. Anyway. My chance.
I don't know where to go from here, Manuela.
But it's true, you don't get to, I don't get to write these on any papers I write, but it's a chance. We are not that much, it's not that I'm talking to 50,000 people who know where they are, but it's a small group enough.
Next year.
No, but it's a small group enough that you can understand. That's it. Buy the Roomba, understand, look at it, watch the imitation game. You have to, what I'm saying is like this, you have to promise one day to live your life watching. Not just take for granted, everything. You should just enjoy it. And then is that one way or another, what about if we have the same type of approach for our job? For our job. So I cannot stand when I get to my workstation, the email problem. These emails, millions of emails, millions of messages, millions of news. Where can I say, yeah, take care of it? I have to still go to my assistant and ask, Celeste, please check what I have to answer in all these emails. Why don't I have AI helping there? So it's these things that why are not more ambitious in what AI can help us with?
So talking about finance.
Yes.
What do you think the major opportunities are in finance?
So let me tell you something. So when I joined, I am ignorant of finance.
And I thought I spoke a lot.
I'm almost done.
The gift of gab.
No, I'm ignorant about finance. Now I know more. 5 years at JPMorgan, I know more. I know what are derivative swaps and all of that stuff,
Amazing.
Which I have no clue.
Well, I'm learning
Okay,
as well,
very good. Yeah. Anyway,
same boat.
So what I'm going to tell you is like this. After all, the finance industry is not only trading, and it's not only the numerical problem of pricing, interest rates. It's not. A big part, so there are two big parts that were a surprise to me besides the numbers. You think that it's like keeping the balance of the account and all of this. It's not. So that's one part. Then there are the other one part, which is very surprising, which are the criminals. There are people that do nothing else than fraud, money laundering, every every algorithm we have has to be protected from these people. I never thought that there were so many bad people in the world before. You know, I was this naive person. It's true. I mean, I'm very surprised by how much fraud there is. And then the third thing is like this. The financial service is all about people and documents. Documents, text, PowerPoints, annual reports, you name it. It's like, and news and everything. So people communicate, basically, all the information is shared as text, as documents, as reports, as summary. That's it. So the amount of, as regulations, as you know, wishes of people. People, if you want to say where you want your portfolio to have, you have to say, oh, I like this. So we are always in the say business. After all, humans communicate, and language is their primary source of communication. So in some sense, the financial industry has a component of text.
Yep.
That is well above, I probably think it's more than the health business has, because they have to handle the x-rays, the temperature, but it's not as much the text. In the financial industry, there is an enormous amount of text.
Contracts.
And contracts, exactly. Everything. Right. So here is like a tremendous source for AI to help.
Yep.
And in particular, these LLMs, fascinating. The ability to really build upon language, to summarize, to compare, to find information, to give you all sorts of like a proposed interaction with someone. So that's like in the finance industry, something that one way or another will catch. The only problem is that in the financial industry, as opposed to other things, I think there are things that are very risky, very risky. And others that are less. If you send a marketing decision and you send to someone's customer's house and announce an ad on a Porsche that you could buy and you have $100 in the account, it's wrong. But it's not the end of the world. It's just you are going to make someone upset, but it's not bad. But if you really don't give a loan to someone based on the information you collected, that's much more severe. So this is also hard because in AI, we are not used to this kind of spectrum of so much risk. What did we do before? We translated. Well, big deal if you don't translate well. You play chess. Big deal if you lose the game. Yeah, you do robot soccer. Yeah, you don't score a goal. You lose the Go game. Oh, yeah, okay. So all the things we did before were not of this risk level. Do you understand? What's the problem? I mean, yeah. You don't beat Kasparov. Okay, too bad. But I'm just saying, it's not like of this nature of the finance decisions. So I think that we have to embrace that in terms of like the research we do and the development we do because of this risk component. It's the text, it's the people, but then there is this risk component. And for that, we have to be careful about how we do this. And that's the only thing I think that we should basically focus on, is to do in finance that part well, and the other, just take it for granted. Emails like this, we just have to do it. Just have to do it. That's the part we still have to worry about, but nothing else. So finance, text, reading documents and so forth.
That's fascinating. One of our initiatives is about interpreting regulation as a machine-readable then code that we can implement together, and certainly a lot of folks are talking about how AI can sort of accelerate that for us.
Let me build upon this. So one of the things we do more is in fact using LLMs to generate code. Because also let me tell you something I think it's very interesting. So what's the world like now? There is tons of things in a computer. Everything is like digital. Your Excel, your whatever database is like, what is it called? Lake houses, whatever you have, there's digital. And then there are humans. And the only way to bridge the humans to all this digital stuff has been through code. Yep. You hire all these software engineers, you write your code, because otherwise, how do we go and read the data? So there is the data, there is the people. People cannot understand. If you want to know, I want a pie chart of how things have worked. Someone needs to code. Someone needs to code. Until we got LLMs. Because now magically, these software engineers are needed, but this person here might write something on LLM. Here is my data, find the sunburst of whatever it's there, or give me a ramsack of like this data. Or you can say in English, compare, not even numerical data, real data, that's all stored here, the humans here, and now magically, yeah, maybe you have to go through the software engineers, or maybe not. Maybe you just talk. Maybe you just write. Maybe you just ask. And so this is also a revolution from the point of view of having people, being able to access information that is not a book you can just read or something. It's all digital, and now through language you can go there and write code.
Yep.
And this thing about this power of writing code that can solve your problem is major. These co-pilots, so not only ChatGPT helped with the interpretation of language,
yep,
but it also generates code, understands code, translates code, and let alone the image part too. Eventually it will also even do images very, very reliably,
yep,
which is looking at plots. We do in AI research things that are fascinating. We are able to create time series data that is generated by language. Oh, we would like an asset that has volatility very high or whatever. We say volatility high, and the thing generates volatility high as a time series data. Or we give a time series data and we say, how do you, what's the caption? How do you describe this? And we can do. And we use a lot of synthetic data based on language to test policies. Because somehow, now from language, you can generate time series data, which is very important to try to experiment with different regimes. So it's a complete new way of thinking.
Paradigm.
Yeah, it's a shift of paradigm. And people are getting, hopefully, more used to think like this. Because we eventually cannot just be watching Netflix.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or whatever. Anyway.
That's super interesting. So we got a couple of minutes left, and
yes.
I wanna ask you. Clearly you have you're deep down in the field, and you seem to have a positive. Clearly the message, please someone tweet, is buy a Roomba. But besides that, how about the
negative things?
The negative things. What I'm kind of curious on, besides the extinction risks or just more broadly sort of dystopian views of AI, but I'm kind of interested, even more practically. You talked about potentially sort of bypassing software engineers. Are we gonna all go out of a job? What's Can you tell something about? Do you see negative aspects about AI,
I don't know if
how do we deal about it as a society?
Yeah, I don't know.
Easy question, no? 2 minutes.
I just want to say something. Any technology has disrupted our lives. We had the telephone operators that were there. Yes, I'll connect you. Yes, I'll connect you. And the electronic switch came, and in one day, thousands and thousands of people, there was not even a transition. They were out of the job. We have examples. Think about the other day, someone was telling me 200 years ago, everybody was a farmer. Now we are massage therapists. Okay, or, so you have to understand that it's not really conceivable for anyone who was a farmer that this profession
could use a massage.
that this profession was going to be available. Can you imagine? So
what do you want to do when you grow up?
Exactly, massage therapist. But what I'm saying is like this. So I just think that, yes, there are dangers, and I do believe that this type of technology in the hands of the bad people are bad. But unfortunately, we have been also in the business of just protecting things. Spam filters. Do you remember the time before there were spam filters? There will be the time before there were all these phishing emails, and now we have cybersecurity. The time before, I don't know what. So what I'm saying is like this. Unfortunately, humankind has been always inventing things that the bad guys can take advantage of. it's just, what can we do? I mean, it's just so sad that these LLMs did not come from the sky. Were invented by humans. We have the 2017 paper from Google. I mean, that's it. They came up with these transformers, they came up with this. So it's not really an alien that came and just that's it. So, jobs, I think that we have to get prepared to many changing. However, all the history of life has shown that we humans are so creative in new jobs, in new ways. Even think about at an airport. I mean, we used to check in every single flight at some desk. We now check in online. There are very few desks. Oh, if you are going to do an online check-in app, don't do it because all these people are going to lose their jobs. There's never been what motivates advancements. It's just people magically go. But I do believe that the software engineers are in danger of extinction. Not really, but I mean, it might change the way they think.
Yeah.
It might change the way they think. I do believe that this prompt engineering is quite a science and an engineering, and you do have to understand how to do it well. So maybe we all become like prompt engineers. I don't know. But what I think is that I'm not worried about the jobs because I think humans are fantastic. What I'm worried about is the criminals. This is like the hard part, and we have to protect ourselves from there. But I'll finish just by telling you something. One way or another, this is a very powerful kind of tools and very powerful kind of thinking. It's a test to humanity. Just a test to humanity. We created it. Can we make a good use of it? And if not, okay, we'll get ourselves extinguished. But then what? But I'm just saying, we are not...
That's fine. We deserved it.
We are not, and don't forget this, tell this to your kids. And like Herb Simon said, we are not spectators of the future. We are actors of the future. So somehow, it's not that other people are going to make this bad. I mean, we better do something. We are part of this future. So it's a test to us humans. Gabe, okay? Enjoy open source or less open source, this is a test. And so you have to do this well. We have all to do this well, this AI thing.
Manuela, I've learned a lot, and I've had a lot of fun. So we didn't get to the open source part, but don't worry, I'll cover that one.
You have plenty of people that can solve. We had Brooks that did so well, so you have plenty of open source stuff.
Give an amazing round of applause to Manuela.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is really fun.